Good morning, everyone. We are here to discuss about ancient prehistoric art, which are cave art, Egyptian, and Greek. Before we discuss our topic, allow me to introduce myself. I am Ronaldin G. Amparo. Prehistoric art. There was a time that women had not yet developed any kind of written language. During the period, various art forms served as a practical method for impacting information between themselves and other tribes. Prehistoric art refer to prehistoric artifacts and art created in the Stone Age, Paleolithic, and Neolithic periods. The definition of prehistoric art. Prehistoric art could be defined as art that was created by people in an era where any form of written language had yet not been developed. The time in which various cultures throughout human history and started developing their unique language system varies greatly from region to region. The origin of prehistoric art. Around 500,000 years ago, one of our early ancestors took a sharp tooth and engraved a zigzag pattern in the surface of a chisel. Although the reason for its creation is unknown, it is considered to be the earliest existing example of art. Let's look at the various periods during which art first began to emerge in a prehistoric art history. Lower and Middle Paleolithic era. The engraved shell was said to come from the later years of the Lower Paleolithic, but most of the evidence point to the Middle Paleolithic as having the best example of the use of art for expressive reason extent of being purely practical in application. Other potential candidates for the earliest example can be found in the Blambus cave in South Africa and the Venus of Tantan is Morocco. The pattern found on the wall of the Blambus cave are dated to around 73,000 years old and are thought to possibly be the earliest existing example of art made by the woman hand. Upper Paleolithic. In a cave in the island of Borneo in 2018, scientists discovered what is true to be the oldest known painting depicting the woman form. It has been dated to somewhere between 40,000 and 52,000 years of age. This also dates to around 40,000 years ago, the Venus of Hallfields being a well-known example of prehistoric art history from this period. Cave painting from around 40,000 to 10,000 years ago are another source of Upper Paleolithic art depicting figurative form and motif, as well as the sculpture The Venus of Willendorf and several animals carving like the Wolverine pendant of Les Aces, which depict of wool engraved into a bone. Asian prehistoric art. The prehistoric art history of Asia is especially unique because of written language was adopted early in the continent, especially in China. Mesopotamia art is rarely defined as prehistoric, as written language took root relatively early in the region, but the surrounding culture such as the Persian, the Urartu, and Luristan culture had all impact for an highly detailed art tradition. In Azerbaijan, dated to be around 12,000 years old, there are approximately 6,000 or more rock engravings that represent the figure of human and animals engaged in the various hunting scenarios, which are located at the National Park in Gubastan. Cave art. Cave art or Paleolithic art is a broad term for the earliest known art making in human history. This movement is perhaps best known today for the painting found in the wall of many prehistoric caves, which are depictions of animals, human figures, and forms that are a combination of man and beast. The tradition of cave art also includes relief carving and portable sculptural objects. The art created by our earliest ancestor is at one level alien and deeply mysterious to us, and yet it serves a the common humanity we share with its creators. The overview of cave art. This artwork is this period is steeped in mystery. Theories around its creation range from ceremonial and religious concept to mapping or educational uses. Artworks and artists of cave art.
This impressive 12-inch composite creature, carved from the ivory of a mammoth, fuses animal and human elements. Its beastly attributes include a lion's head and the elongated body and forelimbs of a big cat, while the legs, feet, and bipedal stance are clearly modeled on the human form.
An important prehistoric work, the sculpture was discovered in Germany in the Hohenstein-Städel cave in 1939 and is the oldest example of an imaginary form in history.
This painting found in the Chauvet cave in fact features 19 other types of animals, including deer and rhinoceroses, as well as its famous equine subjects and side profile. This beautiful and elaborate frieze is one of the most significant works in the Chauvet complex, as well as providing an important historical record of the animals that existed in prehistoric France. This painting gives a sense of the detail and realism with which early artists could capture the world around them.
This work, discovered in Austria in 1908, is amongst several carved female figurines uncovered in caves across Europe. Their small size means the works were portable, contributing to debate over their intended purpose. As archaeologist Bruno David explains, these figures have provoked many different interpretations ranging from children's dolls to mother goddesses. The so-called Venus of Lausolus, an 18-inch bas-relief carving featuring a woman with large breasts and hips. Her left hand rests on her stomach while in her right hand she holds a carved horn, most believe that of a bison, on which are carved 13 lines. While her face contains no distinguishing features, she appears to be turning her head to the right as if to look at the horn. This image of a bison is part of a large number of animals depicted in the Altamira cave. Painting the beast in side profile, the artist has gone to great efforts to make the animal as detailed as possible, including distinguishing features such as horns, hooves, and tufts of hair. Pablo Picasso's bulls and other larger animals are often reminiscent of the bison of Altamira, and it is known that images like this had a profound effect on the painter's imagination. The Hall of Bulls is a painting featuring a large number of prehistoric animals, including bulls, horses, aurochs, and deer. Placed on a large segment of rock in the interior of the Lascaux cave, the animals are presented in different degrees of detail and size, suggesting that the drawing was created by multiple people, potentially over an extended period of time. In this painting found on the walls of the Lascaux cave, a creature is depicted with a male body and the head of a bird. To the left of the figure is a stick, perhaps a spear, on which is perched a bird. To the right is a large bison whose intestines have been pulled from its body. When we look at this ancient rock art, we are inevitably led to wonder what caused our ancestors to mark their presence in this way. Dewar offers two possible explanations. These Guayam rock paintings.
Egyptian art. Ancient Egyptian art refers to art produced in ancient Egypt between the 6th millennium BC of 4th century AD, spanning from prehistoric Egypt until the Christianization of Roman Egypt. It was known for its distinctive figure conventions used for the main figures, both relief and painting. The arts of the Egyptian. So there is a lot of arts from Egyptians, but I will present the top most outstanding arts of Egyptian. First is Ramesses the Great Battle of the Poor. The Siege of the Poor occurred as part of Parua Ramesses II campaign to suppress Galilee and conquer Syria in 1269 BC. The second is Battle of Nubia. This Battle of Nubia is the first Battle of Dangalo. It is the battle between early Arab Muslim forces of the Rashidun Caliphate and the Nubian Christian forces of the Kingdom of Makuria in 642. Third, Cartouche of Tutankhamun. Cartouche with hieroglyphic spelling of Tutankhamun's name with epithet. Tutankhamun, ruler of an Upper Egypt, a name of Thebes. Fourth, the funerary. Funerary arts is any work of arts forming or placed in a repository for the remains of the dead. The term encompasses a wide variety of forms, including cenotaphs. Cenotaphs is an empty tomb-like monument. Fifth is the Egyptians' afterlife. So, the ancient Egyptians believed that life on the earth was only part of an eternal journey which ended, not in death, but in the everlasting joy. When one's body failed, the soul did not die with it, but continued on toward an afterlife where one's received back all that one had taught. Sixth is the Book of Dead. So, Book of Dead is an ancient Egyptian collections of mortuary texts made of the spell or magic formulas, placed in tombs and believed to protect and aid the deceased in the hereafter. 7 is tomb painting. Tomb painting is the purpose of tomb painting was to create a pleasant afterlife for the dead persons, with themes such as journeying through the afterworld or deities providing protections. 8. Egyptian deities. So, ancient Egyptian deities are the gods and goddesses worshipped in ancient Egypt. The beliefs and rituals surrounding these gods form the core of ancient Egyptians' religion. 9. The mummification in ancient Egypt. So, in ancient Egypt, the methods of embalming or treating the dead body are called mummifications. So, using the special processes, the Egyptians remove all the moistures from the body, leaving only a dried form that would not easily decay. 10. Egyptian dance. So, dancing played a vital role in the lives of the ancient Egyptians. However, men and women are never depicted dancing together. The TRF was a dance performed by a pair of men during the Old Kingdom.
So hello everyone, and now let us proceed with the Greek art. So Greek art, it was began in the Cycladic and Minoan civilization and gave birth to Western classical art in the subsequent geometric, archaic, and classical periods. And Greek art known emphasized the importance and accomplishment of the human being. In short, Greek art focuses on human beings. Ancient Greek art stands out among that of other Asian cultures for its development of naturalistic but idealized depictions of a human body, in which largely nude male figures were generally the focus of innovation. So, it is very clear that it was focuses on human body of a male figures. So let's proceed with the example of art of Greek, or example of a Greek art. So first, let us discuss the marble method from the Parthenon. It was 447 to 438 BC. So it is a favorite theme of ancient Greek artists, reared on the might of the Trojan War and experiencing the reality of wars with Persia and between Greek cities. Classical artists found new ways to show conflict. This human fighting, a centaur carved for the Parthenon in Athens, is astonishingly real in its detail and dynamic energy. So that was the marble method from the Parthenon. So let us proceed with the Pergamon altar. It is 180 to 160 BC. So
It was a classical Greek art that changed rapidly as Greece itself went through wars and imperial transformations. In what is called the Hellenistic age, it became much more emotional, sensual, and even sensationalist. The furious sculptures on the Pergamon altar, which can be seen in its own museum in Berlin, are full of passion and psychological drama. So let us proceed with the goddesses from the east pediment of the Parthenon. It was 438 to 432 BC. So it was sitting and reclining in graceful unison. These goddesses carved in the marble of Parthenon in Athens are among the most beautiful and mysterious images of the human form ever created. And then let us proceed with the Mask of Agamemnon. It was 1550 to 1500 BC. So what is Mask of Agamemnon? When the enthusiastic, romantically minded archaeologist Henrik Schliemann discovered his golden mask at Mycenae in 1876, he had no doubt that it must be the death mask of Agamemnon himself, the king who led the Greeks in the Trojan Wars, only to be assassinated on his homecoming. Of course, there is no any proof of that, but it is one of the most compelling faces in art. So next, let us proceed with the raised bronze. So what is raised bronze? These tremendous statues found in the Sea of southern Italy in 1972 are important because so few original Greek bronze statues survive. Most of the classical nudes in museum were carved in marble in the Roman era as reproduction of such rare and now largely lost originals. So let us proceed with the Mutia charioteer. What is the Mutia charioteer? It was at 350 BC. So Mutia charioteer, this is one of the most startling Greek statues to survive and highly revealing about the erotic charge of the Greek nude. This youth is not technically nude but wears a tight-fitting garment that instead of hiding his body, hidens every contour. Greek statues are portraits of human beauty that are meant to be arousing as well as noble. This Attic possessed in sensual triumph. So that was the Mutia charioteer. So next, let us proceed with the god from the sea, Zeus or Poseidon. It was a 470 BC. So the majestic bronze found in the Sea of Greece conveys the magic of Greek mythology. The god, probably Zeus, lord of Olympus himself, is caught in the act of hurling a thunderbolt. So that was god from the sea, Zeus of Poseidon. So let us proceed with Siren Vase, 480 to 470 BC. What is the Siren Vase? So the Siren Vase in Homer's Odyssey, one of the founding epics of Greek literature. Odysseus longed to hear the seductive yet dangerous song of the sirens, but lure sailors to their deaths. So that was the Siren Vase. So I think that would be all about the Greek art and its example. Thank you and God bless.